thanks for joining us for episode 9 of CRC Speedshow TV.
9 already, yeah. Great to have you with us. Only 4 weeks out too, Sooty, from this year's CRC Speedshow Expo. And I must say, things are getting quite exciting now, especially now that we've revealed who our special celebrity guest is. Of course, the original Stig, Perry McCarthy.
Yeah, very, very much way cool. But every year the event always has stars attend, and that's what makes it so special.
Like you. Sure is. And we can also now announce our very special winner, lucky winner of the big $200 prize worth of CRC products, along with that entry to the show to see Sooty.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Is that what you got?
Yeah, this is what I got.
I was expecting a big, fancy, elaborate bucket.
We cut them all down into little pieces. Just pick someone and tell us who's won. Just tell us who has won.
Feels like a non-event now. Apologies.
Yeah,
so there's no fanfare in this, but
yet
the prize is pretty damn good. And here we go. We got ourselves a winner, and the winner has got the answer right. Oh, yeah, he has. Congratulations, Conrad Cook. That's Conrad with a K.
Okay, Conrad. Cook. And as always, I win sweet nothing, which puts me in a bad mood. Therefore,
The Rant with Sooty.
well, it's a very personal thing this time around. I'm upset. I'm upset that ute manufacturers have not studied the facts of a nation. That ute manufacturers are now all about bravado, show ponying and bling. They're about the look at me, I'm bigger now. Well, I've had enough. I'm at my wit's end, and with these designers and those in the boardrooms who tick the box to say go ahead. What am I flapping on about, you ask? Not only have utes become a glamour buy, they are too bloody tall. Did you know the average height in New Zealand for a male is only 5'9", and for a female it's 5'5"? I don't know what the average height of the other genders may be, but for the men and women of this fine country, it's not a lot. And yet the manufacturers are building utes higher and higher. You can't get anything into the tray without a massive lift or a stool or a ladder in my case. But the point is, this whole Americanization of the iconic workhorse is out of control. A ute is meant to be the front of a car with the trailer mounted directly on the back, and a trailer is low enough where you can throw things into it easily. This is a national travesty. 20 years ago, the ute was nice and low, and it still had decent clearance underneath, but now they're just giant behemoths, covered in flashy accessories to appease sales reps and management teams, and those with tiny appendages. The truth is, the ute has become extremely popular, especially for those that don't actually need one. And here's the thing, not only is the true blue working class bloke missing out on a genuine workhorse, the manufacturers and accessory fitters are pissing off the great Barry Crump. If there is an afterlife and Crumpy was enjoying it, well, he isn't anymore. He's crying right now. He's ashamed of what has happened to the machine that was once made for a working purpose. He and I both despise the current machines that have been turned into, look at me, Louis Vuitton handbags.
Hey, thanks for that, bro. Barry Crump and I and the rest of everybody watching, very grateful for that insightful news. Time for some other news now. Now, mate, this is quite massive news. According to the latest reports in the wake of this VW scandal, Nissan and Toyota are going to dump diesel engines and just focus on electric. Nissan are apparently going to put diesel engines into their commercial vehicles, but they won't be made by them. So this is a whole bunch of revelations here. They've already scrapped their diesel engine plant in Japan, and Europe are apparently going to be doing the same within the next 18 months. This is incredible, huge news. But they're not the only ones doing it either. Fiat Chrysler have already announced that they're going to drop the diesel units from their lineup by 2021 as well.
Well, Ford Mustang improves safety to 3 stars. I still find it bizarre that a modern car from a major manufacturer in 2018 has such a pitiful rating. But Ford has now improved the safety of its 2018 Mustang, bringing it up from 2 stars to 3. Even scarier than the rating itself is the fact they're actually proud of this. Although adding electronic driver assist has netted the game, but below par safety cells and airbag deployment, as well as weak body structure, has kept the pony car from getting any better. Those additional driver aids rose the safety assist score from a shocking 16% to 61%, while pedestrian protection rose from 64 to 78%. That's right, you have more chance of being injured inside the vehicle than if you were outside and got run over.
Hey, in motorsport news, this prestigious 24-hour Le Mans was held a couple of days ago, and Toyota were trying to redeem themselves from those previous years of failures, it should be said. The good news for them is that they did, finally taking a win, and actually got first and second. The winning car, driven by Kazuki Namajima, Sebastian Buemi, and Fernando Alonso, means that Alonso is now 1 step away from the Motorsport Triple Crown. Now, he has a Monaco Grand Prix, He now has the Le Mans 24-hour, and if everything goes to plan for him, he'll have an Indy 500 before he retires. Graham Hill, the only other driver to complete the triple. Actually, speaking of which, check this out.
Yeah, one of the world's great races, Le Mans. It's just a pity Toyota are now the only full manufacturer works team in the LMP1 category. And while you can't begrudge them the win, it is a shame they weren't able to do it directly against the other manufacturers like Audi, Porsche, Peugeot. But here in New Zealand, we are starting to grow our own endurance racing again. And whilst the jury is still out on whether it will be a successful endeavour or not, I think the potential is there. And it really does have a good chance. The North and South Islands have separate series, but they do combine as well. And on the weekend just gone, the North Island contingent headed to Pukekohe, and so we did too. endurance racing, it's going pretty well for you, isn't it?
Yeah, we've made the change from sprint racing to endurance racing, and we've really been enjoying it. It is a whole team effort, right the way down to, obviously when you race in winter, weather's a massive part of it. So, it gets a lot of strategy involved, especially when no one can really do a one stop or it's two stops, but it's when you do the second stop. And yes, there's just a range of cars, so it's pretty exciting being out there.
And it is novel for the New Zealand motorsport fan to watch endurance racing, particularly coming from New Zealand. We've seen it overseas, you see it in supercars. We don't really see it much here, and it's nice that it's growing.
Yeah, I think, quite a few years ago with the Benson Hedges, got quite big, and then it sort of probably died a little bit. They used to have the 6 hour here at Pukekohe, that was quite big, but then it sort of, I think, tapered off. So it's good that it's, got a bit of a resurgence, North Island and with the South Island series, and then we come together for the New Zealand title.
How do you get your head around doing an endurance race, knowing that if something maybe goes wrong in the first hour, don't panic because you've still got 2 hours to go? Is there a different, I suppose, training in the mind to be able to cope with these sort of things?
It is initially, because, sprint racing, you're just, red-blooded, you're just straight out trying to pass people, you got to do it then and there because you got to, carry on. Where, this is not so much, just got to, take the mindset, hey, if you don't get in this corner, it doesn't matter, there'll be another lap or two, or you can try to find a strategy to try past them. So there's it's a completely different mindset. It takes a little bit of adjusting to. I think some people adapt it to probably quicker. And even to do with weather. Like a lot of people, it's it might be raining now, but then again some tracks dry faster, some dry quite slow. So you just track knowledge is quite key as well.
And finally on the car, which initially you guys had built as a sprint car, in the touring cars as a super tourer, but now it's an endurance car. Have there been, aside from horsepower, many changes needed to make it a different sort of machine?
Yeah, we've done quite a few changes, so it's a whole new motor. This weekend we're actually trying to, obviously normally run the lock diff, we've got an LSD in it, so we've got a whole lot of other parts in it that we're trying to try. We've got a whole new body kit, aero kit, so it's paddle shift, different gearbox. So we have tried different engine systems. We've put ABS, traction control into it. So it's definitely from what it was to what it is now, it's almost like two different cars. It's just the roll cage that's the same and the driver. But it's an awesome car to drive. We can run a sticky tyre, we're running a nice sticky Michelin in, and it makes the win and forget car hooked up.
All right, Mr. Leach, what's life been like in the Mercedes?
Yeah, fantastic. It's a beautiful little car, a big car, should I say. Very different to what I've been used to, and really enjoying the car so far.
Biggest learning curve for something like this?
I think just the weight of the thing and under braking. It's a completely different sort of technique, I think. But apart from that, it's good. Having a lot of power and a big V8, you can't really go wrong, can you?
Try and explain to the viewers that technique thing, coming from open wheelers, single seaters, and compare it to this.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you've got so much more weight in this car. You literally have to push the pedal maybe 3 or 4 times harder to get the thing pulled up. So it's really having the strength in your leg to be able to do that. And something I was just by fluke I'd been working on before I ended up driving this thing, and it's helped a lot. But definitely at the end of my stint in the race, pretty sore, pretty painful.
And I suppose there's a definite difference in an aero package between something like this, a sedan, even though it's made for racing, and an open wheeler.
I think there is. Yeah, you still open wheeler is this is amazing and it's such a fast car, but a single seater requires, I think, maybe a little bit more finesse is the right word for it. You really have to muscle this thing through the course, whereas everything has to be a little bit more precise in the Formula car. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. This thing, it has its own form of finesse, but it's a big finesse. So it's a great little car, and just stoked to be driving it.
The endurance world, how's it been going, you and Mr. Evans?
Yeah, not too bad. We did pretty well at the last round. Still learning the car, obviously. My whole stint in the last race was completely wet, but we apparently won the race, but it's still up in the air at the moment. I think we've got the hearing tonight to see what the actual result is. So,
tell us about the weapon, because really it is a weapon, isn't it?
I bid the brakes in here this morning, and I've never driven anything with that much grip coming up over the top of the hill. It's insane. Yeah, and that was just bedding in the brakes.
Is it scary that there's so much horsepower available under that bonnet?
Around here, Pukekohe is pretty daunting. Going into turn 1 flat out in 6th gear is just like nuts. So,
What's the style of driving? Do you have to be aggressive, or do you have to be gentle, or is it a case of both with a car like that on a track like this?
I think for the endurance racing, I think I'm definitely just going to have to be. I think there is a bit of finesse you need, a lot of awareness. Obviously, even betting in the brakes out there, you're just flying up behind cars so quickly. So, yeah, just being really aware, getting on the lights, making sure the guy in front actually sees that you're flying past them.
Because that is an issue, isn't it? There's such an eclectic mix of cars here. With your speed and the lap times you do compared to some of those who are still going fast, but they are going slower than you, that can be an issue around this track.
Oh, it's a massive issue. I think it's not only this track, but every other track. Just the speed difference is just massive. It's like what happens when you got 700 horsepower to play with.
Yeah, like I said, lots of potential. But while there, we decided to make the most of the opportunity. Take a look at this. Okay, buddy, so you hopped into the car, and by then you were at clench mode 5, obviously.
Yeah, see my feet? They were already in the emergency passenger brake position.
Brace position.
But then I got told off and told not to put them there. I needed to fold my legs.
Okay, so you were already told off by the driver. That's a good start.
It hadn't even started moving. But so yeah, we're about to take off. We're about to take off.
Okay, so you're about to get underway now. What were you actually really thinking?
To be honest, I don't know what I was thinking. There was a lot of stuff going through my mind.
The rain wasn't a problem, of course.
Well, that was a slight concern, and I know they've gone through the slicks. Like, just as I was getting in, they're like, "Oh no, we're going to change and put the slicks on."
Okay.
So I was a little bit concerned about how.
You do know that Johnny Mac knows how to drive, though. He's done this before.
Just these things when it's a first time situation go through your head, and you kind of think to yourself, here we go. The boot's been planted now. Throw him back in the seat. There's nothing quite like that today.
I see you couldn't handle the camera properly. Actually, you didn't do a bad job.
Come on,
you had one job.
250 km around a racetrack, slamming brakes on right at the corner.
Okay.
What do you expect?
You're actually smiling. This is quite good. Okay, well, obviously turn number 4. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4.
Speed. I can almost. Here we go. Yeah. Speed, and then he comes a corner. You can see the moment of God. And there we go.
There it is. That's the moment of seriously when are you going to brake? Oh yes, I could see it in the eyeballs.
Yeah, it is.
You're an absolute shocker.
And then there's some corners.
You felt G-force just there.
There was a bit of G-force. Could you see it in my face?
Yeah, I could see it in your face. I'm glad you haven't lowered the shot because I assume they'll be cleaning up the seat later. Yeah. Come on, we know
Johnny
you're a
Mac's
wuss.
driving. Johnny Mac's driving is actually quite spectacular. I'm glad for my first time he took the cherry. You know what I mean?
You did an eyebrow raise.
Yeah.
As seriously, are you
think
going
it was a
into?
G-force raise.
Yeah, it was. It's turn 9 now. You're coming up on the hill. We all know that at Pukekohe. What was that like? What was that like?
Coming up to the hill, it was actually quite exciting. And then you get to the end of the straight, and there's a quick hairpin. And then he plants, and then you're heading straight towards the blooming fence, and you're like, mate, it's mate.
Please brake now.
Yeah.
Look at the G-force on your camera.
There were so many moments, there were so many of those, Jesus, you need to brake now.
Yeah, it's 250 kilometres an hour. Yeah, you felt it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Right, we're on the back straight, so we're heading into turn number 5, which of course,
you know this track quite well.
You can't say, well, yeah, when they modified it. Mark Scaife made that modification, you know. You feel important?
I do now.
Yeah. There it is. There's the right-hander. There's the left-hander. You're a shocker.
So many moments of, what is going on? What are you doing?
Dave Mac looks calm.
Yeah, and you know those moments on a roller coaster, on one of those rides where you're kind of thrown forward and
yes, I do.
Everything is, you know?
Yes, I do. That was a relief look. I just saw it. And peace with the world. Yeah, that's not bad, mate. Well done, you.
Yeah. It was quite the experience, but you know, I'm glad I wasn't really expected to commentate too much because there was a lot of stuff going through your mind. A lot of stuff going through your mind.
Yeah, pretty happy camper beside me. Now, in regards to the results from that weekend, it was good and bad for some. The Evans racing team of Simon Evans and Chris Hanley got double punched. They lost the judicial hearing and therefore the winning result of round 1, which went to Johnny Mack and Simon Gilbertson. And then the engine failed before the Pukekohe race, so they didn't even get a chance to compete.
Not the best weekend for Evans and Hanley, but it was for the Mike Racing entity and the Mercedes machines with a 1-2 finish for Reid Harker and Jack Milligan over Brendan Leach and Christina Orr-West. Glenn Smith and John DeVeeth, they were third in the Camaro.
Yeah, and while we are still talking motorsport, we should have a look at Formula One, which is currently being lambasted from everywhere. It's a procession, it's boring, and it's lost its sheen. Well, yet again, the powers to be have decided to make a change that will solve the problem. Although they do say this every year. Take a look.
Formula One aerodynamics are set to get simpler in 2019 with one simple purpose in mind: to promote closer racing and more overtaking. The key change is a move to a simplified front wing with standardised end plates, wider dimensions and no upper flaps. This will encourage aerodynamicists to direct more of the flow to the underbody, where it is less sensitive to the disturbed wake of the car in front than the outer body. The deletion of the upper flaps at the outboard ends of the wing will make it impossible to create the vortices that are created by the current highly complex end plates. This will force the teams into a different aero philosophy that should make it easier for drivers to follow the car ahead closely. Limiting the teams to 2 underwing strakes on each side should further help in this respect. Another area of the car that will see changes in 2019 is the brake ducts. Winglets mounted on the brake ducts currently play a part in directing airflow to the outer part of the car. These are banned as from 2019, as are blown axles, which currently use air directed out of the centre of the wheel to energise the flow down the outer surfaces of the bodywork further back. Barge boards will be lowered by 150mm to make them less powerful in directing the airflow, whilst also being moved forwards by 100mm to make them less sensitive to the airflow being disturbed from the car in front. The rear wing end plates, meanwhile, will also be simplified, with teams no longer permitted to use horizontal gills. These equalise the pressure between the inner and outer faces of the end plate to give a faster flow over the top of the wing for more downforce. But they introduce an extra disturbance to the wake, which worsens the performance of the car behind. The DRS opening, meanwhile, will be increased from 65mm to 85mm. Together with an increase in width and height of the wing, this will make the DRS around 25 to 30% more powerful, so as to allow it to be effective on those circuits with too short a straight for the current system. With the rear wing set to get both taller and wider, Formula One cars are set to look quite different from the current models in 2019.
Right, so will it work?
I'll tell you 6 months in, I'm cynical.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice T-shirt, by the way.
Hey,
mate.
nice
Just throwing it
T-shirt,
out there.
mate.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
You noticed.
Yeah, I did notice.
Yeah, it's about 16 sizes too large, but I think you got my order, but that's all right. You know, these things happen, don't they?
Mine's all about passion. Mate, look, let me show you what it's all about.
I'm all
because
about the
you
stick.
are able now to order these from the expo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at
Mine's
this
all about
beauty.
passion.
I'm
What's
all
yours
about
about?
the Stig.
Oh yeah, because the Stig will be there. Yeah?
Are you getting all that? That's
Yeah.
good, eh?
Okay.
That's good.
Well,
And
if
that-
you want to look as sexy as me and as ridiculous as him, you can order these shirts
it's a bit rough.
at the show.
Thanks, mate. Anyway, time for us to say goodbye on that note, which I think is pretty damn good. Look, don't forget you can, speaking of Speed Show, get early bird tickets for this year's event. Go online, speedshow.co.nz and grab them because we really want you to join us for the weekend, and he needs a renter crowd.
Yes, I do. And go grab the latest copy of New Zealand Petrolhead because it's got a big spread about the show. And I'm actually on page 3, the nude shot. Actually, that's not true, but you need to get one.
This is getting burned.
Yeah, anyway. It's always free and it's always in New Zealand's best automotive stores. All right, say bye, Dave.
Bye, Dave.
See you later.
Oh, that's not what you meant, was it?
The Le Mans 24 Hours for 2018 is about to get underway. The flag is waved and we are go! The two Toyotas lead away from the front of the grid. It is Andre Lotterer. He's trying to go round the outside. He's pushed onto the curb. He's cheeky, isn't he? But he goes wide immediately. It is the Toyotas 1 and 2 as they go into the chicane. And his nose is off and the Dragon Speed car spins over one of the bollards. I think Lotterer's nose was damaged because he hit the back of the Toyota before he turned into the first corner. The drama starts already. already. Already we come down the S's, down into the Forest S's, and Lotterer is limping.
Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare start for Lotterer and the Rebellion. He got tangled up with this Toyota's big damage. He's such an experienced driver. Didn't expect him to make that sort of an error, and really the Dragon Speed car, you know, just an innocent victim. But the LMP2 battle now, they've got a slipstream from this Rebellion. It's absolutely madness when you get down to the first chicane.
So that is the leading LMP2 car. That goes through. It looks like the I-Deck car. We are on board with Andre Lotterer. You can see the front wheel on the right-hand side. He's got no downforce. He's going to be understeering. Meanwhile, in GTE Pro, it is the Porsche number 91 that leads here at the moment. It's Jimmy Bruni ahead of his teammate Kevin Estre in the pink car. Then we've got the Ford. Then we've got the Ferrari alongside the Ford into the first chicane. The Ford GT number 68 goes through. Cheekily goes through. That is Dirk Muller. He's on to the second part of essentially the three-part Mulsanne Straight. It was 3 miles, 5 kilometres in length before they put the chicanes in. One of the yellow cars, was that an Aston? Was it a Corvette? Ran on. It was one of the AM cars, in fact. Meanwhile, the leaders of this motor race are still the Toyotas. It's Sebastian Buemi from Mike Conway going into the Mulsanne corner for the first time.
5 seconds left on the clock, and when the Toyotas get to the line, the emotion will be raw and unrestrained.
24 hours is over now. They've just got to make it now.
Look at Nando, he's got his head down. He barely even dares smile because he's seen those pictures from 2 years ago. But now they're in the Porsche curves. There are cars in front. It doesn't matter. They can see the ACO building. They are all
slowing down, so they don't have to do another lap.
Yes, everybody's slowing down, but now the Golf car pulls out of the way, and the Toyotas will thread their way through. It is a historic victory. It's a follow my leader, and Toyota win at Le Mans, a 1-2 after 2 decades and more of heartbreak. Finally.
Congratulations, Toyota, because you've tried so hard. Now you've won.